Hey, this podcast holds nothing sacred. This is Life, Tech, and Sundry. And what is Sundry? It's our experiences put in a melting pot to the internet. So join us on this wild ride called the LTS Podcast. Follow us at LT Sundry on Twitter, LTS.pod on Instagram, Life, Tech, and Sundry on YouTube, and all your favorite podcast distribution services. Stay frosty.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of LTS Out of Office. My name is Marcos, and with me, I have a special guest. Returning from popular demand, Benny. How you doing, Benny?
Hello, Marcus. I'm doing good. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, Benny and I were chatting a little bit earlier. We're reviewing the content that I had with him so we can have an idea of how to straighten our stories out for you, dear listeners. But in this episode, obviously, you know where to find us on all your favorite podcast catchers and on YouTube. If you want to leave a comment, you already know where to find us in the links. So let's hop in.
Yes,
Benny,
let's do it.
Remember the story that we had throughout the week as of this recording? How this episode was inspired by Benny's solution to something, and that inspired me. And then I had a conversation. We work at a coffee shop, Benny and I, together.
Yeah.
And we had an idea. Well, we noticed that we had an observation of what people tend to do. And obviously, I imagine everywhere that there's customer service. Well, how about this? Any person that's listening to this episode and works in customer service, let me know your customer horror stories. You being the person behind the register, restocking XYZ. And you see horror stories that customers or potential buyers do while you are on shift. If you want to, leave a comment or get at us on the links on social medias. On social medias, you know, Instagram, X, and the comments on YouTube or wherever you can leave a comment and the 5 stars, you know, much obliged. But anyways, horror stories. Let's see. So we have, it's not a horror story, but it's made us to observe some realities of society that we notice that people do, even when not given instructions. The quote that I want, there's shenanigans. Shenanigans goes down, if you will. Obviously, you as the worker, you do not like it, and you wish, you know, as a person, if you were not on the clock, you wanted to, hey, what you doing that for? Why? You know, you nasty or something like that, right?
Something.
Yesterday.
Or follow the rules and, you know, this Porsche where there should be.
Less shenanigans would happen if people follow the rules, you know?
Yeah.
An example, okay. Let's preface with Benny's story. So, Benny, what happened that enticed me, that excited me to make this episode and talk with you about it? Let's say, can you tell the listeners?
Inspired?
Yeah. What did you do? Or what did you see them make you act?
Yeah, basically what I saw is just like had some customer disposing like a used third in a container where the new ones were
unused. And the new ones,
yeah, unused, yeah. And what I noticed is, I think some people it was so hard like to find where the garbage can was, and what they ended up doing, they put it, the used ones were the unused words, like a new bin.
Yeah. And what did you have to do?
Yeah,
what did you react to do?
And then what I ended up doing, and I talk about this with Marcus, and I'll let Marcus do. What about if we write a sign and put it on top of the box?
And
little container bags, and I ended up doing the saying like, do not dispose users in this container.
Yes, you did.
That's it. And it turns out Marcus loved it. Marcus loved it. Yeah,
like first he had the idea like, hey, okay, first, our boss, right?
Yes.
No judgment against him. He's got more years on this job than Benny and I combined, right?
Yep,
it's no big job. It's just coffee shop, but it's still a respectable job.
Yes.
He's been on this since more years. He's like 40 years in this shift. He's a boss of his own company and all those things, of his own coffee shop. But
Yes.
he normally, I don't know if he ever told you, Benny, but to me, hey, Marcos, less is more. Let them figure out. By the way, dear listener,
Yeah.
Benny, my boss, and I are visually impaired, different levels of visually impaired. I need
Yes.
a cane to move around, a sighted cane, a white cane to move around. My boss needs a cane to move around. And Benny does not need a cane all the time, but he has it with him whenever he needs it.
Night.
Oh,
At
there you
night.
go, at night. So,
Yep.
with that in knowledge, Ed would always train me specifically in my story. Hey, Marcos, you don't need to tell them a lot. They can see, they can figure it out. But
Yes.
many times, Ed would go around to clean up whatever's going on after the rush hour and say, "Oh, they made a mess here, they left here." He would just pick up after the customer, if you will. And obviously, when you're ringing up 80, 100 people in within the hour or less, you can't really clean up after the space where customers make their own
The
coffee
coffee
to the left.
station. The
Coffee station.
station.
There you go, Benny.
Yeah.
And Benny's like, let's make this more efficient. And he was proactive. Obviously, right now, Benny and I are on the clock. Our boss was not in the shop in the meantime because of X reason.
Yep.
And
He's turning
Benny,
back.
I was the senior worker here compared to Benny. Don't get me wrong. Benny has, I would say, more years in customer service than I do. But in this situation, I'm a senior. And he would say, you know what? Let's make life easier. What do you mean? Just hold on. Okay. He goes.
Mm-hmm.
I ring up some customers, come back, throws out the box of stirrers and sets up a new one and says, what do you think? Shows me a sign. I'm like, oh, that's cute. And the cute one, the part that made me laugh internally was that he put even a little heart, like a heart, like, oh, thank you. And like, we got busy and said, I'll set it up. I'll set up the sign and you ring up customers. Okay. I go set up the sign. It fits up nice and everything, right? We continue specifically on that day. We continue.
Yeah.
Later on in the day, another ex-customer later says, hey, guys, or specifically, I was ringing up customers at that moment. Hey,
Yes.
Marcos, is it really necessary to put on a sign on the stairs? And I say, yes, because we had a horror story earlier today. And Benny was there. Yes, ma'am. Yes, there was a horror story there that required the sign. Right? She's like, oh, people are crazy, or people are crazy. She said, like, literally the sign for the garbage bin is to your right, not even a foot away from you.
It's just like very next. It's not even like 2 feet away.
Less than
less, exactly. And for some reason,
it's too far.
It's too far for people to dispose their garbage there.
Mind you, the garbage sign came in first than the stir sign, by the way.
Exactly. But when I noticed the customer put in the used-sters in that little bin, I told Marcos, we need to do something about this.
We need to do something about this, yes.
Yes, so, I started doing my thing and I ended up writing some signs there and I gave it to Marcos.
And turns he did his magic really and good. I did a magic and magic happened.
Exactly. Yeah, but also probably, I want to add this a little bit here. But I think a little bit of that, like that type of issue, I think it's because Ed, our boss, has told us not to give too much information. And that might
overload.
Be exactly overload about how to make how to make a cup of coffee and where to dispose your garbage.
You know what he would say?
Yeah.
Let them figure it out and let them just keep going on their way. We'll pick up after.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but
that's when you ring up
that made me to think about what about if we don't put a sign here? That's how I came up with that idea of writing.
It's not like you're making a big neon sign. No, it's the sign is exactly where the stairs are. Like, let's say the stairs is the original box where it came from. Benny just made a little cutout where the customer's fingers would fit and just pull out a straw. People were still trying to throw the used straw in that space, like wiggling it in, like, gentlemen.
Yeah, but
mister.
But you ended up cutting that little piece of paper at the end, and we
had to throw out the whole thing.
The little heart. You did.
I had to throw out the whole thing.
But not the whole thing. You're not. I'm chopping up the necessary.
No. I'm just saying the solution. Your hard work for that first part was good, but then the sign, the thing that required the sign, if you will.
Yeah, I see.
So that inspired us to do this episode. And trust me, I was saying, Benny, come on, you need to be this one because you lived this with me. This gave this trick, this could triggered me.
Yeah.
And Benny's like, sure. Like, Benny, I appreciate you for you hopping on this episode. Thank you so much. But
you're welcome.
You lived it. You solved the problem, and this is something that happens in society. Like,
yeah, it does.
Have you seen those signs, keep off grass, or the signs of follow the walk sign? Right?
Probably follow the walk sign. I think I've seen a couple of signs of those, but
when crossing the street.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, so let me slide in with that premise of this episode.
Yes.
With that warm up in mind, let me give you the premise of this episode. Dear listeners, welcome to this episode of the LTS Out of Office. Specifically, Insights with Benny and I, where we discuss the gears of human behavior with the precision of a Swiss watchmaker, or at least we try to. Today, we're diving into the curious case of the unseen fracture, law, guidance, chaos. Because, let's face it, sometimes the biggest problems aren't the ones screaming at you, but the silent cracks in our understanding. We're dissecting two powerful phrases that hold profound implications. First one, ignorance of the law. Ignorance of the law does not excuse you from breaking it. And second one, in lack of instructions, people will resort to destruction. Let's start with the first one, the legal side. Ignorance of the law. It traces back to the ancient Roman principle. Ignorantia juris non est excusate. In modern parlance, ignorance of the law is not an excuse. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. So, sliding into the first one.
Yes.
Ignorance of the law. Question: how did ancient societies ensure order when knowledge wasn't as readily accessible? According to some online search that I want to, chat with you, Benny, and want to hear your opinion about it, is that this principle, though fundamental, has evolved through centuries of legal thought, grappling with the balance between individual awareness and societal order. Furthermore, it highlights how early legal systems prioritized societal stability over individual claims of unawareness. Think about it this way. Hold up. Think about it. If everyone could claim they didn't know a law, where would we be? Your Honor, I didn't know. I'm not from this town. I don't know the rules. I didn't know that I couldn't walk when cars were passing by, or I didn't know that I couldn't cross the street where there's no those lines, crosswalks. I didn't know, Your Honor. What do you think, Benny? So society, for centuries, hundreds of years since society existed, people would have to migrate, would have to move to different places, and did not know what is constituted as breaking the law. And since then, they decided, just because you don't know does not mean that you are free from, have a pass, if you will, of breaking it. Example, jaywalking. The legal term in the East Coast is called jaywalking, Jay space WALKING, jaywalking. That's been, I would say, since New York City has been New York City, since Chicago has been Chicago, since Florida has been Florida. Whenever big cities were brought in, specifically in the US, the issue for this was that people were migrating from Europe, from Asia, from Central America, South America to these places. So the rule was, whenever you're walking, stay on the sidewalk, because on the road, wagons, cars, horses would, like the story that I told you about the bus. It would be zooming by. A lot of people would get squished, killed, hurt.
Hurt.
So they made it into a law, understanding that people, if you don't want to get a ticket, you don't want to get punished,
Yeah.
Follow the rules. Thus
follow the
word
rules.
jaywalking.
Exactly,
People
so
from
you don't
inside
get
the
hurt.
country that they were from the fields, working in the field. There's no road. There's no regulation, but in the city there is, because there's 100, 1,000 times more possibilities of you interacting with people getting hurt.
And getting hurt. Yeah.
What do you think? Society prioritizing the big picture of following the rules of not walking into the street. Mind you, they still break it, right? I'm guilty of that. People are guilty of that. There's still a potential for. I've witnessed people, cross the street wherever their feet can, they can walk. They cross it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it happens every day. Every day they don't follow it.
But that doesn't mean there's no rule for it.
Exactly. But especially since I able to see a little bit, I see people not taking the crosswalk.
And it's not like they're invisible.
Exactly. They're not like invisible. They're not aware what would happen just in a few seconds of like an accident there.
And if they wanted to, police could, hey, stop crossing or you're going to get a ticket.
Exactly.
They can do that. That's like an excuse.
They can do it. Yeah, they can do it. But at the end of the day, it's their fault. It might be their fault, but that's why there are rules so people can follow it. If they don't want a ticket, you have to follow it.
There's a threat of getting punished, so then
yes,
follow
absolutely.
the rules.
Exactly, absolutely. I agree.
Okay, there's another one. Let's see. Okay, there's that one. That's point question 1. The next question.
Yes.
Why can't we just simply say, I didn't know, and avoid legal consequences? Without this principle, legal systems would become easily manipulated, undermined. The very concept of a rule-based society, if individuals could simply claim ignorance, the system would become unenforceable and chaotic. It's about maintaining a level playing field. We just said it before. It doesn't matter if you're not from here. It doesn't matter if I go to Chicago. I'm not from there. There's still some rules that I have to be aware of. How do I not get ticketed as a walker, pedestrian, as a driver? You know what the number 1 rule is for a driver, Benny? Aside from following the rules of the road?
You have to follow the signs, maybe?
That's one. Yeah, that's one.
Yeah, and also respect the traffic lights or things like that. Yeah, and always be aware of the people.
That one. That's the number 1. In other words, the pedestrian has the right of way. The walker, the one on his little 2 feet.
Yep.
Me as a person with a white cane walking around.
Yeah.
Even if I don't follow the sign, the crosswalks.
Yes.
I still have the privilege of being able to take priority to get out the way of the highway.
Absolutely. Yes. So you're right.
That's unenforced. Imagine if a car hit me and I wasn't on the sidewalk, they would still lose.
Because you're using you can or
that one, and because I have the right of way. Do you know what right of way means?
Way?
UAY. Right of way.
The right of way, I think, because you are crossing the road, the street.
Yes. You have the priority. Cars can slow down and let you pass first.
Absolutely. I think it makes sense. It makes sense like what they implemented to be a law or a rule.
But then the earlier one, the older one, is jaywalking. You get a ticket. If police officers wanted that, the cars can let you pass. And if there's a police officer on the other side, here, sir, you get a ticket. Or here, Marcos, you get a ticket.
Yeah, because you
even though the cars let you pass, like, what did I do? Jaywalking, sir. They could still do it even if they want. That's like I don't want to say it's entrapment. I didn't stop you. The cars let you pass by. Yeah. So yeah, that one.
Yeah, and I think it's really good. I think it's really good to follow what you wear, where you need to walk, or yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's it.
We don't stop them. If you caught that person, like, I feel bad. There's probably been a lot worse cases that I haven't seen. Unfortunately, that's the kind of situation that you and I live in, or that I live in.
That's it. Yep, absolutely. Many cases we don't see.
Yeah, like for me, 9 times out of 10, I probably didn't see it. Your Honor, I didn't see nothing.
Yep, that's it.
Next question. What happens when good intentions clash with established rules? Cases highlight the legal system prioritizes the enforcement of established rules over individual claims of unawareness. These examples serve as a constant reminder that legal knowledge is a fundamental responsibility. It's not just theory. It's not theory. It has real world repercussions, aka consequences, tickets, people getting run over, people not slowing down for the walker, for the person that's walking. There has been legal consequences because of that. So, general rule of thumb, when you're a little kid, may that be in the city, you say, okay, and you see those little signs? They do that.
Yeah.
I don't remember as a little kid, but I know because I was with my parents and all those things. You see those white lines and all those things? Cross here. If I'm not with you, you do not cross here. And when you're in school, in elementary school, all those things, let's go to the park. We're going to go here, follow, stay in the line together, little kids. Let's walk together. There's going to be an adult, like little ducks.
Yeah.
We're either going to be a long classroom of 30, 50 students, or we're going to break them in sets of 5. We're going to need 5 adult or sets of 10. We're going to need 5 adults for those 50 students, and we're going to break up. The adult is going to lead you. You're going to follow him, stick to him, and follow his rules because he's going to know what's going to happen while we're going to XYZ. When we went to the park, we went to a museum. That's an example.
Theater.
Or shopping mall.
Yeah.
All those things. Stick to the adult. Stick to the older person. They will guide you. They will prioritize your safety.
They do. Actually, they do. It will be way better. Even let's say, because I have some sites, and when I utilize my cane at night, they like to be the leader when it comes to
without
crossing
even
streets.
talking. They
And
slide
without
into
even
that position.
talking. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's on
That's
itself.
really exactly, and it's very helpful for me too.
And that's for me to do you need me to hold the door? Thank you so much. And I say
Absolutely. Yep, that's it.
Okay, so the next one is our interconnected world. In our interconnected world, where does our legal responsibility truly end? The expansion of the digital law and international law has made it even more important to understand that legal responsibility is impending beyond local borders. This is due to the interconnected nature of the modern world, where now responsibility for laws that might be in other countries or on the internet. An example for laws on the internet.
Yeah.
Don't record or don't break the law and record like the TikToks, the kids riding on the train. That's illegal. For an example for the TikToks of the kids riding, surfing the trains.
Yeah.
Trying to do real life train surfer. How many have they died? There's been a lot of people that died because of that.
Absolutely, because it's dangerous.
And they're recording themselves?
Exactly, and they just go on top of it, record themselves. And I don't know what the idea at the end of that.
They're gonna say it's a fun experience.
Exactly. And if it's a fun, it's still dangerous. Right. No matter what.
So many have died. So many have gotten hurt.
Yeah.
There's that one. That's an example right there. Modeling here in China, in Europe, in Australia, in Japan. You get on the train as a passenger. You follow the rules that are locally. Probably in Japan, you don't record other people without their permission. Here, you also don't do that. People might get aggressive. Hey, are you recording me? Or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But
so you have to be aware of that.
I've seen people recording. Yeah, I've seen people recording themselves, and all of a sudden, other people next to them, they get aggressive.
Damn.
Yeah. Especially in the city.
Oof. Okay. Next question. How can we make legal knowledge a right and not a privilege? A just society must strive to ensure that legal information is readily available, especially for those who are marginalized or lack resources. This means providing clear accessible legal information in multiple formats, it is not fair if legal information is hidden behind a paywall or complex language. Again, it goes back to the stirs. We're trying to put it right in front of you. Obviously, everyone in the court where we're working, in the court of law, it's not enforceable. You get a ticket for putting the used straw back in the stir, but it's not nice. You're an adult. You have to know that if you throw this back into where you grabbed it from, you basically ruined the whole batch that was in there.
Yep, that's it.
An example for walking. When I was growing up, it used to say walk when you're able to walk, right? A lot of people didn't speak just English or didn't speak English.
Yep.
So in some places, later on in the future or now, it just has a guy. The guy
with a hand.
A guy walking.
It's a hand. It's like a mini stop. Yeah. Yep.
Like that's no language, but it shows that you have to stop.
Yeah, that's it.
Back in the day, you say walk, U-A-L-K, or you say don't walk.
Actually, where I live, there's still those like traffic to walk signs. They still here. It says walk on it.
And then when it says chirping, beep, 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 beep.
And that's one of the hard things here where I live, because even if I go at night and these signs, they don't beep like the other ones next to the court where we work. Yeah, they don't make a sound, so it's a little bit challenging for me. But what I do is I follow the cars. Once the cars start,
that's how they teach us, man. That's how they taught me too.
Exactly. So that will be one of my beeps instead of like listen to the beep of the sign,
which is something they don't do.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly, man. Right there. You speak my language.
I try.
Same over here. Yesterday I was doing errands, and I basically had to go around the block where I live. Right, go around, do all those things.
Yeah.
And there's a school within that block, right?
Yeah.
On that far side. And I went around doing my own thing, did my chores, gotta. And turned left, and I crossed and all those things. The thing that for me as a person that moves with a cane, I felt that where you're way to cross the edge of the crosswalk, there's like little metal things on the floor that you can feel with the cane. And when you're stepping on it, you feel that like, okay, the edge, right on the edge. Where it's like a ramp, and then you cross the street for pedestrians.
Yeah,
like, okay.
It's over the pip. What is it called?
It's like pebbles or like little like.
Exactly, it's like a rubber thing.
There you go. Yeah,
they feel like a rubber thing to me when I use my cane. They feel like rubber.
Your cane bounces on it, basically.
Exactly, basically, yeah, that's it.
And when you're stepping on it, they feel like bumps on your feet, on your shoes.
Absolutely, yep, yeah, and that's a sign where it gives you where you actually are. Either you want to cross straight ahead or make a left or right, and whenever you want to go.
That's a hint that it's a crosswalk area.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's not even a language thing. In some places, they're super yellow, like bright yellow. Some places, they're like a darkish red or no color at all. They're the color of the pavement.
I think the ones I have seen so many times, they are like the red one.
Yeah, they're like a reddish thing, yes.
Yeah,
but for me, I feel it with my cane. Oh, I'm at the edge of a crosswalk. I can walk here.
Yeah.
And but yeah, that's an example that society has accommodated for without even showing you language. This is some areas that you can cross. But I can cross anywhere. Like my feet can take me through here. Yeah, but you're gonna run either A, get hit by a car, B, get injured, or C, injure someone else, and D, someone's gonna get a ticket.
Yep, that's it.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so we've explored the cold, hard logic of law, where ignorance is no excuse. But what about a softer, more chaotic side of human nature? If law is the skeleton of society, then instructions are the nervous system. Let's see what happens when those signals get crossed. Because sometimes a lack of direction is a recipe for disaster, with a side of existential dread. Sliding into number 2 of this podcast, the lack of instruction. aka the story, the thing that triggered this podcast with you, Benny.
Yep. That's it. That's it,
Okay.
Marcus.
What drives our need for clear direction, and what happens when it's absent? Humans are social creatures, and a lack of clear direction can lead to anxiety, confusion, and a breakdown of cooperative behavior. This need for direction is deeply ingrained in our psychological makeup. We want to know where we fit in. We want to know where we fit in, where we're going, the things they show you in class, the 5 W's and the H. No, the 5, yeah, it's who, what, when, where, why, and how.
Okay.
That's direction, basically.
Didn't know that.
Those are directions. Who are you talking to? Me? Okay, you're talking to me. What are you talking about? Where is this conversation going? Oh, you want me to do something? You want me to follow this? You want me to do that? Why am I doing this? Because I'm getting graded, because I don't want to get hurt, because of XYZ. How am I supposed to do it to your liking, or to do it as easily as possible?
Yeah.
The 5 W's and the H. That's what they teach you in school, in elementary school.
I never got taught.
But
I think I never heard that. I think it's my first time getting.
Okay, but you figured it out with living it, though.
Yep, exactly. I had to figure. Yep.
You lived it too. You lived it just with this little straw example.
Yep, I lived it, but never heard of like the 5 rules of W's and H.
And analyzing our boss by that example, saying less is more. You can tell from what generation he's from. He's from, I'm gonna figure it out. If I get hurt, I get hurt, but I lived it. That's my personal experience. Are you willing to share it?
Yeah.
Nah. You live your experience. You go live your experience. Am I gonna tell you what to say, what to do? No. Am I gonna pick up your mess and complain about it? Yes. Why?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because that's the way of
that
generation. I think exactly. Yeah. I think the generation used to be a little bit different, and now I think it's changing.
Being able to complain to something about I would say that's too basic. There's bigger problems to complain about. Complaining about that somebody didn't put their straw in the garbage bin when you could have put a sign.
Or a sign.
Not even be a factor for you to complain about, and basically make you waste money because you didn't put the sign and you had to throw out that entire container and put in a new one. That's money you're wasting there as
Yep, that's it.
Or
and still he doesn't want more instruction.
Yeah, he wants to have his cake. The saying in English is, he wants to have his cake and eat it. He wants to serve 2 masters. He wants to serve himself, and he wants to serve his customers.
Yeah.
So if you want to make that happen, you got to put in the work.
And that's what we ended up doing it.
Yes, sir. Yes, Ben.
Yep.
There's a little inside joke between Ben and I that whenever I say yes, sir, or Ben says yes, sir, I got you. We got you. Got you on the act. Right, Ben?
Yeah.
Okay. That's the first question. The second one is, how does a lack of purpose turn into destructive behavior? I mean, in other words, because you didn't give me instructions, why do I start breaking things or ruining things? What do you think is that, Ben?
What?
Yeah, like I don't give instructions, but because you didn't give me instructions, I throw the straw into the
like
new
anywhere.
In our personal example. Like, why do you think is that?
Know.
Like, you got it from their new.
You just give it, because what I'm thinking, you just give the person instructions.
Exactly.
And still ended up doing not what you've been told. And just leave a stir just on the counter, or squeeze it in next to the other
cup dispenser.
Exactly.
Or squeeze it back into the new straws.
Throwing out
or
drop it on the floor. And we have to call like the assistant who does the maintenance.
Or I clean it, or you clean it 9 times out of 10.
And we just give you instruction where each item goes, or where they are, even the garbage can, and still ended up doing. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Could you excuse them and say, oh, I wasn't listening, I was busy? An example, we work in a coffee shop, dear listeners. Just for your observation, we work in a coffee shop inside a courthouse. So do you think we could give them the benefit of them not being mentally there because they're busy? They got a ticket. They got to present themselves to court. They got to go do jury duty. They got to XYZ. Do you think they deserve a pass? Do you think? As the person that's serving them, and if you've done this, unknown people have done this to you over and over and over, and you keep giving the instructions. You make it even better, over, short and sweet. The saying is, right? The less instructions, but you still try to say, here's a coffee, push and hold. Here's sugar stirrers and lids. You just said 3 words. Sugar stirrers and lids, garbage.
It's not enough for them. Or it's still not enough for them.
Yeah, and it's happened. It's enough that we had to put a sign. You read. I can't read English. I gasp. I breathe in deeply, breathe through my nose, and I exhale.
Yeah.
Breathe. Pray, Marcos.
It's a little bit hard. I know it's a hard situation where we're
and it's not like I can excuse them. They have their mind in something else. But at the same time, they get every single one of these different people do this over and over again that I'm never going to see again, or probably see for 2 weeks and then they're gone. Do I give them a pass? Do they deserve a pass? That's the question.
In my opinion, since probably the person didn't know well, I think I would say let them pass. We need a pass.
But that doesn't mean we don't put sign, right? We do put sign.
Exactly. Yes, basically. Yeah.
Understood. I like it that way.
Yeah.
And that's what you did.
And that's what we did.
That's what we did.
We didn't ended up like calling the person who did it nothing. It was just let it pass and let's put a sign and that's it. Let's move on.
You did. Hi. No, you didn't yell at them.
No, I would never do that.
Like, I mean, if they don't pay you, sir, miss, you don't pay.
Absolutely. Yeah, when it comes not to paying, yeah, absolutely, you have to call them.
Like, you know how many times when people go to jury duty and say, "Oh, coffee isn't free," you know?
Yeah.
I thought it was free.
Yeah, many people think
you would say, where does it say free coffee? Right? You can say that. Where does it says coffee sign? It doesn't say free coffee.
Yep, it does.
If they dare and say, because it didn't say free coffee, I assumed it was free coffee. So that you want to assume what you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
To your benefit.
Or take advantage of you.
Yeah,
something like that.
No instructions, they assume towards their benefit. Instructions, it's too many instructions. So whenever it's beneficial towards them, oh yeah, more benefits to me. And that's human nature. That's part of the destructive side. Okay, next question. Okay. How does lack of purpose turn into destructive behavior? No, that one I already did. How can we bridge the gap between intent and understanding? That's number 3. Clear, concise, and consistent communication fosters trust and understanding, creating a foundation for positive outcomes, aka a good harmony, a balance, if you will. Furthermore, good communication prevents potential misunderstandings. We need to be proactive with communication. If you communicate, there's less misunderstanding to happen. If they want to misunderstand, that's not your problem, Benny, or my problem. We communicated, we gave you the instructions, but you were not there mentally, or you were distracted with something else.
Exactly, you were distracted, very distracted.
Okay. Does this human need for direction change depending on the environment? Does this need of direction vary? Can it be altered because you're in court in our situation?
I think they might improve. I think they will improve once you see like the signs or.
Oh yeah, there's bathroom signs.
I think they're gonna do it if it happen again because you didn't know at first. Absolutely, you're gonna improve.
Whether in corporate rooms or setting up a family dynamic, a lack of clear expectations can create conflict and undermine shared goals. This applies for any situation where people are working together. The place does not matter. The human reaction is often the same. Okay, in other words, you and I, right? We were talking about how when I got hurt and I got that big scar on my left arm. They're saying,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, your mom didn't come around and start when you were in middle school, Marcos, in middle school. Oh, when she saw that one, didn't she bring in the chancla or belt and start hitting you?
Belt or cord or anything.
Yeah, and start hitting you." And I said, "No, why?" And I said, "Why?" Because I came in, put hands, communicated. I said, "Ma, check this out. I hurt myself. I'm okay. I'm right in front of you. I'm walking. I'm good. Check the wound. This happened. This happened. I am here in front of you. I am okay." She got angry, and then she didn't say, "Are you okay?" And she didn't have to repeat anything because I gave her the full report.
Yeah.
And I said, "This is how it happened ahead of time, like fast. This is what happened. Oh, okay. But you're here. Yeah. Okay. Get to washing your clothes then." Because, my shirt was bloody.
Of
Or
course,
my uniform.
because the scar because the
saw
wound
the scar.
you have on your arm, it's huge. It's I
It's
don't know
on my
how you did
elbow.
it.
Yeah.
Yep, it's almost like
It looks like a knife wound. It is a knife wound. What do you mean? What you're gonna say, right? And then she said, "Okay, go wash your shirt." It was a white shirt. It was not a good day for cleaning, Marcos. My
Yep.
uniform, my little vest or jacket was red, so that camouflaged nicely with red blood. But not the shirt. The shirt was a horror story.
Shirt. Absolutely, yeah.
And then for you, the story, an example that you said that you hurt your belly one time that you were climbing a tree.
Yeah.
Did you ever tell your parents or your grandma or anyone?
I did not end up telling my grandparents because when that little incident happened, I just went straight back home. I didn't check nothing until probably a couple minutes later. After when I get home, it start like itching. Then I went to check out my belly. It was all scratched or like almost penetrated by the branch
Was
tree.
it bloody?
No, it was not bloody. It was not bloody. Yeah,
An example.
but it left a scar.
Yeah, I noticed the scar. Then I know. So Ed also told me one time that he same thing, playing with his brothers when he was a kid, like 10
Yeah.
or 8 years old. He was in a park with his brothers, running around like little kids, right? And he runs into some branches and stabs his stomach. Yeah, he also has a
He
stomach
never
wound.
told me that. He has never told me.
He told me way before his situation that he had to step out right now. That you went,
I see. Got
way
it.
before.
Yeah, way before.
Yeah, and he said, yeah, as a kid when I was 8, I was XYZ. We were going to leave, and us kids were still running around in the park, and I run into some branches and end up poking. My tummy hurts. He said, and he looked down and he poked, and he had a stick in his body. He couldn't move away from the tree because he was still stabbed. And his brothers saw that, and his dad ripped the branch, took it to the hospital, and got stitches.
Got it. That's a little bit. In my case, it was a little bit.
You fell off the tree.
That.
What do you mean?
But I mean, I fell and stuff like that, and also like my arms were scratched while I was scrolling down.
Your fault. What do you mean scrolling? The tree was scrolling you, if anything.
Exactly, but I never felt the thing in my stomach until I got home.
Yeah. Again,
a few minutes later.
I knew my situation was bad because I didn't feel the wound. It was like, I just felt that my shirt got stuck. And then I looked down, my arm's stuck in that too. Let me unhook my arm. Let me unhook my shirt. Let me go. I was in the middle of lunch, right? Like, let me go to the bathroom, and it doesn't hurt. And I already know I always had paper cuts before. I remember as a kid when I put my arm through the roses, it stung and all those things. So I'm like, this is bad. Why? I don't feel the wound, and it wasn't bleeding yet. It was just pink. And I was like, okay, it went deep. Why? Because I don't feel my wound. I analyze that as I'm walking. It's not bleeding yet. Let me go. Walk. And it was pink. So I just add cold water and wrap it in those paper towels that we have for drying your hands. Wrap it and tie it. Just enough to give it pressure so it continues. And then when I was after lunch in math class, that's when it started dripping.
I see.
It soaked my paper towels.
But I don't know how you didn't feel that pain.
Because it's a deep cut. You feel the pain when it goes.
It's a deep cut.
It went past your pain receptors, if you will.
And I don't know why it never cut like your muscle, because there's like a muscle in
It
there.
got a lot of the skin. It got a lot of the skin there instead of grabbing my
Do you
vein
think
and all those
so?
things.
You think it didn't went straight to the veins and stuff?
To the main vein, like when you cut your wrist, yeah, it was this close. They were saying it was that close, but I was lucky.
Yeah, you were, because
The teacher with the nurse, the school nurse over there in Mexico, they said like,
yeah,
you know, you were this close of her hitting your vein up here, right? Yeah, I said yeah.
you're just like, yeah.
And what? It does it hurt? I was like, does it hurt? No, that means it was a deep cut. She confirmed that as well. Yeah, that's a deep cut then.
And I don't know how you didn't feel that pain, Marcus.
Because I was like, I know I messed up. Just continue, march, keep marching, fix your wound, and get over it. No need to cry about it. I'm a big boy. I said I don't need to cry about it.
yeah, okay.
I got hurt because I was playing. If I did this while playing, I deserve whatever hurt.
You didn't feel it because of all the
adrenaline too.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. How do we build guidance that empowers rather than dictates? What do you mean by that? How do we guide a positive environment where irrelevant of how people come in with a bad attitude or a good attitude or distracted of XYZ? How can we do less instructions but still give them the amount that they need to know in a quick manner? That's the question.
Yeah.
Yes. Continue, Benny.
How do we improve, you said?
Yeah, how do we basically say less? How do we speak less but give more information? May that be keywords. Push and hold. Push, hold the coffee and let go whenever you want to. Whenever you want. No, push and hold. Push and hold. Push and hold for the coffee. You know how hard that's been though, right?
I know.
They only hear push, literally.
Sometimes I just press it once.
Yeah, what'd you say? Push and hold.
And hold.
Yes. So constructive guidance involves not only giving directions, right, what we do, but also empowering individuals to take ownership and contribute to positive change. It's about creating an environment where people feel supported and valued. It's about leadership and building a community. How can we do that when building coffee? You say, Mr. Benny? How do we do that? Well, sir, miss, here's your cup of coffee. You can serve it to your liking.
Yep.
Push and hold. Like you heard that. Push and hold. Push and hold. We did the signage. You and I, for the coffee. Big white background with the black letters. Push and hold, right? That's what we also modified.
Yep.
Push and hold on the C. Push and hold hot water on the W. Like, you know what I mean? That was funny.
It is funny, but also I think it made it a little bit easier now, because when the last customer, when we put the sign after that,
less
the customers they were not asking for too much.
Yeah, I tried.
I think it was a good feedback there.
The garbage. Where's the garbage? Bottom right, ma'am or sir.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it says right there. I'm blind. They would literally say.
I should do it better there.
As a former blind person, you are not blind, sir or ma'am.
Yep.
But yeah, we got to make it positive. And you done the coffee. Enjoy. Have a nice day.
Yep, and that's it. That's your job.
And you've heard that. You've heard that they say that, right? Oh, thank you for the positive. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And but some of the customers are really good. Like most of the customers are very good.
Yeah, they are.
They're very friendly. What I meant, very friendly. It's like rare the ones that I cannot follow.
Or just don't say anything.
Simple.
And they just go.
Yeah, true.
But that's almost 0%. Not a 0, but very rare, like you said.
Very rarely.
Okay. From the courtroom to the boardroom, we see the same principle at play. Information matters. Whether it's the weight of law or the whisper of guidance, their absence leaves a void, an emptiness, if you will. The lack of instruction leads to emptiness. But humans, fortunately, have a knack or an itch, an urge to fill with chaos. Unfortunately, that's how we are. Oh, you don't give me instructions? I'm gonna go do whatever I want. That on its own is destructive, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And remember, in the grand theater of life, it's always better to know your lines and your cues. You know what theater is, right, Benny? Like you go and act something out, or on TV, you practice your lines. This is where you have to step. This is what you have to do. You develop that over years in real life of what you're doing.
Got it.
If instructions are already there and people prioritize to make it easier for you, then things are going to go way smoother.
Yep.
I combine smoothly and smoother. Okay. And with that, LTS Insights for today. That concludes this episode of LTS Insights, at least on the document that I wrote out.
Yep, that's it.
We hope you found a few intellectual nuggets to chew on. Hopefully you add ketchup or honey mustard.
Basically.
Until the next time, keep your mind sharp and your instructions clear. And remember, a little knowledge goes a long way, especially when it prevents a full-blown social meltdown or a coffee burn. Right, Benny? How many times? Careful, the water's hot. It's hot.
It's hot.
Told you it was hot.
We just told you.
We just told you.
We told you, put the cup underneath and push and hold the button. That's it.
Hot water right there.
But some customers cannot follow that, and they just hold it, and the machine starts splashing some water, because that's what I've noticed.
It's hot.
It is hot, and then all of a sudden they push it. We told you it was hot. Coffee or tea, both are hot, so be aware of it.
Or whenever we're giving them a cappuccino or hot coffee, hot cappuccino, hot cocoa, hot chocolate. Yeah. Careful, hot chocolate. I like that though. What do you think, Benny? It too.
Yeah, I mean, I wish we could do, like, let's say, to be more careful about our customers and just focus on our customer. I wish we could do coffees, but that would mean much work for us.
We'd be slower.
Very slow.
Imagine back in the day, that coffee machine that we have now used to be facing us. And we would press and hold the coffee, and they would, because that style, when we have that style, we conserve the amount of, we can save as much coffee that we don't throw out because, it's too sweet. I added too much milk. Can you throw it? And even then, people do that, right? They serve themselves a full cup.
They do that.
Yeah. But it's a lot more right now compared to when we used to serve it. But it was slower.
Wow.
You already noticed how the lines, how big they get. And then they make me and you nervous, right?
Yep, they do.
Imagine when we have to serve the coffee and they're there and they're waiting for you to serve the cup.
That would be a nightmare.
Yes. What do you think, Benny? Want to call that for this episode with that hot cup of knowledge?
I don't know. I don't think that's it. Nothing.
Would you like to give them a little heat shield? Would you like to tell the listeners, till next time, where can they find you?
For now, I don't have any social media where you guys can find me, but soon I'll go to YouTube and you can follow me there. But I don't have the name of it yet.
Or social medias that you have to share?
No social medias yet either.
Yet. They're coming though.
But they're coming.
Okay. So then I'll serve this to the customer then. Hey, thank you, dear listener. Thank you for having us today in your ears, for lending us your time. Remember to follow us on the links in the description. Future links of Benny incoming, hopefully, in the future. But drink your coffee carefully. Read the signs. Mind the coffee. It is hot. And leave a comment.
Please follow the rules and not dispose the garbage in the clean.
Throw the garbage in the proper bin, not where you think the proper bin is. You can ask. You can ask. We will always be welcome to help you out. There you go. With that, dear listeners.
Yeah, thank you.
Is another episode of LTS Out of Office. My name is Marcos. With me is Benny. Have a nice day.
And thank you, Marcos. Thank you.